I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Kelly, and thank you so much for clicking on this video and giving the channel a chance. If you're new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I would very much appreciate that. If you guys are into politics, true crime stories, and news commentary, you know, you will not regret it. Just go ahead and do that for me. Hit subscribe, smash it, you know, abuse it, whatever you guys say, whatever the kids are saying, do that. And if you're not new to the channel, thank you for being a friend as always. I greatly appreciate that, guys. And more importantly, follow me here, subscribe obviously to my YouTube channel. Go follow me on Twitter. But if you can, and I know this is, I'm already like asking like 5 things of y'all, but guys, if y'all can, go follow me on Rumble, because unfortunately today I had another one of my videos taken off of my channel. Luckily, you know, the YouTube gods spared me and didn't give me a strike, which I don't even know why or what their policy is even anymore, but they didn't give me a strike, so I thank you. You know, I pray to the YouTube gods every night for this purpose, but which is obviously not true. Sorry, Jesus, I love you. Anyways, so yeah, guys, go follow me on Rumble, because who knows, and I'm gonna address this in another video that I'm doing later tonight, but YouTube's got funny stuff going on, okay? I don't know what their deal is, but I'm side-eyeing you, YouTube. So, anyways, guys, we're going to get into this topic real quick. I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible, but I found this to be a fascinating topic, and I have found this to be fascinating since it all kind of started to pop off. So we're going to be talking about RFK Jr., guys. Have y'all heard anything about this? Do y'all know who RFK Jr. is even? So if you're entrenched, obviously, in politics in any way, you know who this is. But this is the son of the original Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who was the brother of JFK, who was the assassinated president of the United States, the utter Chad, hottest president we've ever had. Okay, not that that matters. I mean, what does that matter? It's not important. It looks not important. I'm just saying he was. Facts are facts, okay? Facts don't care about your feelings. So that's who RFK Jr. is. He's kind of been a controversial subject, though, and he is a lifelong Democrat, as most of the Kennedys were. But he's more of your more of your traditional Democrat, meaning he doesn't have all of these like blue-haired, you know, trans-loving views that most of your liberal extreme left does today. Now, I don't know what his views are on like all the stuff, all the gay, trans, and all that stuff. That hasn't really been made clear yet. But I do know he is anti-vax, he's anti-war, and he had a very interesting speech and announcement, which we're going to get into today. I'm going to let you guys know what my opinions are, and then we will get into just some funny little keck things at the end, as we often do, and then we'll hop on out of here, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first article that I have for y'all. And this is from, let's see, from CNN Politics, the most trusted name in news. Okay, guys, why Biden's orbit isn't worried about RFK's 2024 campaign. Well, do tell, CNN. So apparently, President Joe Poopy Pants' campaign didn't respond to RFK Jr.'s campaign kickoff because though there is now a major donor summit on the books for next week, there still technically is no Biden campaign, meaning he has not officially, you know, came out and said, hey, I'm running for president, filed the paperwork, all that You know, there's a lot of speculation about a lot of people right now, but until you've actually signed the paperwork, you're not really in there. You're not really in the running. I mean, I don't feel like at this point there's any question as to whether or not Biden will run again. I mean, whether or not he's cognitively able to, or whether or not he will even be able to debate anyone at all, let alone walk onto the stage by himself, is questionable to all of us. We all know this. But nevertheless, that doesn't mean the Democrats aren't going to try to pump a syringe full of adrenaline in each one of his ass cheeks and shove him up on that stage with an earpiece and a dream, you know? So I don't know. But he has not officially announced. So what there is instead is an acceptance among most Democratic leaders that they still have to wait a while for Biden to make it official. Okay? To the confident advisors in the Biden orbit and their wider circle of supporters, the Kennedy challenge only serves to reinforce the president's strength. Oh, really? That's not what I'm hearing. Kennedy and spiritual author Marianne Williamson mocked at a daily White House press briefing after her primary campaign launch are the extent of the challenge Biden has drawn. So they were mocked? I didn't see this. That's fascinating. Karen Jean-Pierre should not be mocking anybody, okay? She is the butt of every joke, okay, at this point. She is the joke. The fact that she's mocking people is laughable to me, quite honestly. So that's quite an interesting development, and the fact that they just act like, who would dare challenge Biden? Who would, I mean, literally anyone? Literally, can we get literally anyone else? Because his half-dead ass, is he even running the country right now? Is the question. We don't know. We don't know, guys. It is an unsolved mystery. So, yeah, Karen, I think anybody would challenge Biden. Okay, at this point, I'm loving, honestly, I'm very happy about this. So far from what I can see, and I'll tell you why in a second. I want to get into his speech first, but I think it's good for many different reasons, okay? And it's not just what you might expect from me. So let me finish reading this, and then we'll get into the announcement speech. The Democratic National Committee has made very clear, meanwhile, that the party apparatus is aligned with Biden. No plans for primary debates are underway. A White House aide did not respond when asked for comment about Kennedy's kickoff. So the DNC, if they fumble this like they did in 2016, this can only be good for Trump. And I'm going to tell you why. They cannot ignore RFK Jr.'s announcement and his potential in this upcoming election. If they try to Bernie Sanders him like they did to Bernie Sanders the 2 times that he tried to run, and the DNC basically held him back and said, no, we're picking the candidate. The voters, they don't get to pick the candidate. The DNC gets to pick the candidate. If they try to do that, they will expose themselves so badly. And if they don't hold primary debates for fear that Biden will look like an utter retard that he is, then I just don't even know how they're going to be able to come up from that. I don't know how the DNC will recover from that. I don't see a pathway out. I think that they are going to have their hands forced, and, you know, RFK obviously has proven that he doesn't give an F. He does not care. He's not, beholden to the, Democratic, the Democratic elite, or all of the lobbyists and everything that work for the DNC, and all of the corporate structures that are backed behind all these party, alignments and things like that. Like, all of that bullshit that happens behind the scene. He said that he doesn't care about it, and I believe him. I truly do. So let's get into his announcement speech, guys, without further ado. It was like 2 hours long. His whole entire thing was 2 hours long, so we're obviously not going to play the whole thing. These are just some of the highlights and snippets, and so let's get into it, guys. Let's see what is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s campaign announcement speech for 2024 is like, okay?
I'm here today.
Oh, I do want to say, if you're not familiar with RFK Jr., he does have like a voice thing, so his voice sounds a little weird. Like, if you've never heard this man speak before, you might think WTF. He's got like some schematic or like spasmatic or something, like I forgot the name. Let me just tell you guys exactly because I have it pulled up here. I don't want to like butcher this. Y'all think I'm like absolutely retarded. Okay, he has it's specific. Okay, so it suffers from spasmodic dysphonia. I don't know. Anyways, spasmodic dysphonia, a specific form of an involuntary movement disorder called dystonia that affects only the voice box. So that's why he will sound a little different, but you know, just get over it. Whatever.
Announce my candidacy for the Democratic nomination for President of the United States.
Look at that white guy. Look at this guy. Look at this guy right here. Look at this guy right here. He's got spirit. Yes, he does. Oh, yes, he does.
Mission for the next 18 months of this campaign and throughout my presidency will be to end the corrupt merger of state and corporate power. Corporate feudalism in our country, to commoditize our children, our purple mountain's majesty, to poison our children, our people, with chemicals and pharmaceutical drugs, to strip mine our assets, to hollow out the middle class, and keep us in a constant state of war. I want to start by thanking my wife, Charlotte. I would not be here without Cheryl. And I cannot describe in words what she has brought to my life. But she is the wisest person that I know. She's also one of the funniest people I know. And I think the American people get to know her, that they are going to be more excited about having a really funny first lady.
No, really, yeah, because that's important. Okay. And y'all see all these signs back here, like the "I am a Kennedy Democrat." People are tired of the bullshit, guys. Like even Democrats, and that's why, like, I'm covering RFK Jr. because even people on the left are sick of this. They are sick of the utter madness that is ran through the Democratic Party and has run rampant and totally taken over the minds, and you know, the utter foolishness that is going on in some of these states and like in Congress with all of these like representatives who are totally woke-fied. It's just people are disenfranchised. They are not for it at all. So that's all these, like, I'm a Kennedy Democrat. They're signaling, I feel like, to the Democratic Party that, you know, hey, you guys, y'all need to get it together, because there's a large majority of them who would, I feel like, switch over and vote for a more populist or even a Republican candidate if, you know, if they don't get their act together over there on that side. And it's the same thing goes for like Republicans. There's also a large subset of the Republican Party that I feel like can switch over and vote for Democrat as well. I feel like most of America is somewhere in the middle, and then on either end, the extremes are much less, much fewer and farther between. But I don't know. So what do y'all think, guys, so far? Let me get into another. That one was really kind of hard to hear. So I want to get into another couple clips here. Let's see. He actually, at the very beginning, started his speech off like this.
This is what happens when you censor somebody for 18 years. I got a lot to talk about. They shouldn't have shut me up that long, because now I'm going to really let loose on them for the next 18 months. They're going to hear a lot from me.
Oh, they're gonna hate it for themselves. Literally, the DNC and the Democratic establishment are shitting in their pants right now. They are Joe Biden at the Vatican level, poopy pants up. That is the situation going on over there. Because on the one hand, like I said, they don't want to entertain him, and they don't want to acknowledge him at all. But if they do that and they go forward with that plan, their voters are going to be pissed, and they are going to disenfranchise and possibly even shift a lot of their voter base over to the right. I'm just saying. And so they are counting on the media to do a lot of their dirty work for them. And so I'm going to show you guys a little bit of that as well. So, corporate media is not talking about RFK Jr. They're not. I don't think anyone but Fox News covered his announcement at all, which is sad. This is a Democratic candidate who's challenging Joe Biden, who has been an establishment, supposed run candidate, who has not even done all of the bidding of the far left, which they have wanted him to do. He's put a stop to a lot of it. He's not even gone as far as they want him to go. But yet, y'all won't even... Y'all scream about democracy. Y'all scream about how important it is to have this quote unquote democracy that we don't even have. But y'all don't want to have actual democracy where we have challengers, where we have the ability for people to vote, to make these decisions for themselves, instead of having the media or having these large establishment groups like the DNC decide who gets to have the nomination, or the RNC for that matter. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we should always have challengers. We should always have the American people vote on who they want. Let them have their voice be heard, if that's even still possible in this country anymore. I don't know. Okay, I'm just saying. So, let's get into some of the other things that he said. Too many Americans believe that we are losing our republic to a new brand of corporate feudalism or a corporate kleptocracy. Okay. Oh, this is what he had to say on Trump. I'm not going to play this whole 6 minutes, but he did criticize Trump. He came out pretty strongly. I kind of feel like, and I guess I'll say this afterwards. I'll save it. Okay, let me get into this clip.
I'm going to talk about lockdowns. And nobody wants to talk about it. But
talk about it. We do. I want to hear it.
I grew up at a time, most of my life was at a time that economists call the Great Prosperity. It's when the American middle class between 1945 and 75 grew to be the biggest economic engine on the face of the globe. I mean, we were the economy in the globe. We made everything, and everybody looked to us, not only for goods, but for moral leadership.
And now we're
we
bitches.
became the most powerful country in the world, unrivaled. And it was because, and we had a stable democracy with institutions that people trusted, a press that told us the truth, and the destruction that, everybody knows it's an economic and political economic rule. You cannot have democracy in a society where there is high concentrations of wealth and widespread poverty. You need a middle class, or you don't get democracy. And you cannot do it unless you have a big middle class, and we had that. But since the early 1980s, there's been a systematic attack on our middle class, and the coup de grace was the lockdown. The lockdown was the biggest shift in wealth in human history, and I'm going to tell you about that in a second.
Tell us.
And I blame President Trump for the lockdown.
Ooh-wee.
A lot of people will say, and President Trump gets blamed for a lot of things that he didn't do, and he gets blamed for some things that he did do. But the worst thing that he did to this country, to our civil rights, to our economy, to the middle class in this country, was the lockdown. Now, President Trump, in fairness, let me just make this point.
Speak on it.
Will tell people, well, the lockdown wasn't my idea. It was my bureaucrats rolled me on it. I was saying we shouldn't do it. But that's not a good enough excuse.
And that is true. That is what I was going to say. I felt like, which is so unfortunate, guys. I mean, nobody could see into the future. So I will say this, none of us knew what was coming, right? None of us knew that the plans that they had in motion were going to get pushed and get rolled out so quickly, and that basically, you know, Trump's whole first term was completely overtaken and co-opted, and I feel like he made a lot of concessions because he wanted a second term and he wanted to get reelected. But the whole thing of it is that, like, he was never going to be able to win over any new people by being a moderate, because the press was always against him. So, like, and nobody could have foreseen this. Nobody could have known this. You know, he was trying to do the right thing and be, you know, like, fair to all sides. And so he listened to a lot of advisors about the lockdowns. He didn't want to do them. Nobody wanted them. And nobody wanted them, I will say. I'll speak for myself. I didn't freaking want them. It's hard to say. I feel like the worst thing he ever did was honestly pushing the vaccines, in my opinion, if we're being honest. But I think that in the beginning, he was very much like a person with his hands tied behind his back, because he was going to be damned if he did and damned if he didn't. So the press were going to eat him up regardless. They were going to say if he didn't lock down that he was playing with people's lives, and they were going to condemn him if he did lock down, which he did, by saying he didn't do it fast enough, X, Y, and Z. They were going to rip him regardless. So in that regard, he shouldn't have cared what they had to say. He shouldn't have cared. He should have gone with his instincts. So I do agree with RFK to a certain degree. But what I was going to say before is that I feel like he kind of, RFK Jr., I don't know, I think maybe he might just be, like, making a stand for, like, maybe some, like, position of power in, like, the next upcoming, like, administration. I don't really know if he has, you know, the full, like, understanding of, like, oh, I can definitely win. I don't know if he's convinced that he can win as a Democratic candidate after we all saw what happened to Bernie Sanders in 2016 and in 2012. We all saw it. He saw it. He knows it. He is entrenched in this world very much as a Kennedy. And so, I don't know, if he really wanted a chance to actually win and get all the way to the general election, I don't see why he ran as a Democrat, because I don't see how they're going to allow it to happen. And that's as messed up as it is to say, and as corrupt as that is. I don't know, unless he starts pulling, like, crazy numbers, which he's already pulling great numbers. Like, the last I heard was that, like, he was at 14%, which is huge for a candidate at this stage on the Democratic side, you know? So it's almost like, can they ignore him? Will they ignore him? We don't know. But the media are going to do their job on RFK Jr. They are going to slander this man to high heavens. They are going to make him seem like the worst man on the face of the planet besides Donald Trump. But so I don't know why he didn't run as a Republican, why he ran as a Democrat. I don't know. I don't know what he is kind of positioning himself for, if he really wants the presidency, if he just wants to get involved and be maybe vice president, or maybe, like, powerful, like, you know, in the next administration coming up, and, you know, whether it be whoever it may be. I don't even want to shudder to think that it could be the poopy pants idiot we have now. But I'm just saying, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, though. And I really do feel like the DNC, if they don't start taking this man seriously and they don't actually give him a shot at the primary, they will live to regret it. So, what do y'all think about that, guys? What he had to say about Trump? He, you know, I feel like at this point he had to say a little something about, you know, Trump, and kind of come out against that to basically show, hey, like, I'm with y'all, you know, Orange Man's still bad, but he didn't make that the focus of his whole entire campaign speech, if that makes sense. He still stuck to his talking points, and he still stuck to his ideas that he had. He was kind of giving, like, Make America Great Again vibes right there. Like, what do y'all think? Did y'all not kind of get that from him? Him saying, like, oh, we used to be the most powerful, we used to be the greatest country, we used to be, like, revered, and now we're just big doo-doo heads sitting on the playground with no one to play with. So, and which is so true, which is so true. So, let's get into this next clip, which was my favorite, I think, of all of them. And I don't want you guys to read that, so let me expand this really quick. because I don't want to ruin it, okay? But this is great. This is golden stuff. Very good.
My uncle came into office 2 months later. He was fighting his intelligence apparatus, his military, because they wanted to invade. They wanted to do the Bay of Pigs.
Oh my God.
He was totally against it, and he let them roll over him. And in the middle of the Bay of Pigs, he realized they were lying to him, and he realized the function of the intelligence agencies had become to provide the military-industrial complex with a constant pipeline of war.
Oh my God.
And he came out during the middle of the night during the Bay of Pigs catastrophe, and he said, I want to take the CIA. Alan Dulles had lied to him, Charles Cabell, Richard Bissell, Louis Lemitzer, Curtis LeMay had all lied to him through
Not naming names.
And he said, I want to take the CIA and shatter it into 1,000 pieces and scatter it to the wind.
Oh my God. Love that. We love that.
And, George W. Bush had the same problem. George W. Bush says the worst mistake he made
Okay, this is where you lose me, sir. This is where you lose me.
as president was listening to CIA Director George Tenet tell him it was a slam dunk that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. And so the neocons and CIA got to go into Iraq and throw out and do regime change. And we got now we've spent $8 trillion.
Oh my God.
And what do we get for that $8 trillion? Nothing. Worse than nothing.
Oh my God.
Iraq is now much worse off than it was when we went in there. We killed more Iraqis than Saddam Hussein ever did. We may have killed 1 million Iraqis, and nobody knows.
Oh my
the
God.
number. It is an incoherent country today. With where Shia death squads are fighting with Sunni death squads in the street. The government is corrupt. The police are corrupt. We created ISIS. We drove 2 million refugees up into Europe. They destabilized democracy for a generation in Europe. They caused Brexit. This is the cost of the Iraq war. $8 trillion there, $16 trillion for the lockdowns, $24 trillion, nothing to show except a devastated middle class in the United States of America, and we need to put an end to that.
Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Oh my God. He gagged me with that one. I mean, hello? He just said all that. He just literally said all that. And I'm gagged. I am literally shooketh. Like, the fact that, oh my God. What? Okay. I don't think I have anything else to say. I don't even know what I can say. He just, somebody protect this man. Y'all know how they do the Kennedys, okay? Somebody get this man's back, okay? Get him a bulletproof vest or something. I don't know what's going on. But he just said all that. I kind of want to rewind it and play it again for y'all. Let's just play this last part, okay? Let's just play like the last 30 seconds. Hold up, let me start from right here.
Death squads in the street. The government more Iraqis than Saddam Hussein ever did.
Oh my God.
We killed more Iraqis than Saddam Hussein ever did. We may have killed 1 million Iraqis, and nobody knows the number. It is an incoherent country today with where Shia death squads are fighting with Sunni death squads in the street. The government is corrupt. The police are corrupt. We created ISIS. We drove 2 million refugees up into Europe. They destabilized democracy for a generation in Europe. They caused Brexit.
I mean, what the fork? RFK Jr., sir, you're coming out the gate hot. Ooh, somebody protect this man, because, my God, I cannot believe you just said all that. It's so true, though. It is so true. And I'm like, this is kind of what's got me real hyped up about this announcement, guys. And it's not to say that I'm not still voting. Like, I'm still definitely with Trump, obviously. But, like, RFK could have me swayed. I don't know. I still have a lot to hear from him. But, and we still have a long ways to go. But him saying all of that he just said, he snatched my pearls, guys. Like, he really did. He took me clean out. And he's so dead on. The Iraq War was probably one of the most destabilizing incidents in our lifetime. Like, it quite literally could be the catalyst for the downfall of Western democracy and Western civilization. Because what he was just talking about, all of the migrants, all of the immigrants, all of the refugees that were forced out of those countries because of the war and forced into all of these European nations and into our nation. It destabilized that whole region. It formed a new legion of terrorists that hate the United States. It formed like other alliances with countries that were fed up with our bullshit. I mean, oh my God. Wow. Y'all, let me know what y'all thought about those statements there. And somebody protect this man. I'm worried. Y'all know how they like to do the Kennedys, okay? We're not even going to get into it. So, and you know what? I said that about George Bush, like whenever he brought him up, like, you know, because I do fault George Bush and I do think he has some like evil ways about him. If y'all don't know, who's that guy? Osama bin Laden and the Bush family, they go way back. You know, they were friends. They were kikiing it up. You know, the whole families. Yeah. Look into it, guys. Look into 9/11 just a little bit, and you'll see. But so George Bush, yeah, don't trust him, don't like him, think he's a bad person. But it does make sense. He is just stupid enough to be convinced to enter into a war with Iraq that was totally like unneeded, because first of all, if we're looking for Osama bin Laden, why didn't we go to like Afghanistan where he actually was? Like, why did we start a war in a whole different country than the guy that we're looking for was living and residing at? Like, so he is just dumb enough to be convinced to do that. So in that regard, I guess I can believe it, but still, that doesn't mean he's forgiven. You're not off the hook, George W. Okay. Sit down. Go sit back down somewhere. We don't need to hear from the Bushster, okay? So now, guys, I want to get into some reactions from the far left or some Democrats that I actually trust and respect to give their opinions, and that they will be fairer than the mainstream media is, who aren't even covering this announcement whatsoever. So let's first get into the Hill Rising and what they had to say about RFK Jr.
Hours after officially announcing his campaign for the presidency, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. went on Fox News' Tucker Carlson tonight and elaborated on what he considers to be America's most pressing issues. Let's listen.
I think that the general theme of my speech was this corrupt merger of state and corporate power, which is turning our country into corporate kleptocracy, into a system of socialism for the rich, and this kind of cushy socialism for the rich, and this kind of brutal, merciless capitalism for the poor.
Kennedy did not hold back on his sentiments about the nation's involvement in the Ukraine war either. Let's take a listen.
Americans care about the underdog. They care about that kind of suffering. But
no,
the question is, why are we in the Ukraine? Because Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, said that we're there to exhaust the Russians. President Biden has said that we're there to...
And what the fuck is that? What even the fuck? I'm sorry for the language. I'm really trying not to curse anymore in my videos. But literally, what is that? We're there to tire out the Russians? Are you freaking kidding me? That is what we're sending billions of dollars to a foreign country and sending our people and our equipment over there to fight, to wear out the Russians? Like, what kind of a joke country is this?
To deplatform, to depose Vladimir Putin. And if that's why we're there,
reason too.
And we're killing a lot of Ukrainians as pawns in a proxy war between two great powers.
It's given George
Here's
Bush.
One last thing I would say. Nobody talks about this. There's 14,000 Ukrainian civilians who have died, but 300,000 troops. The Russians are killing Ukrainians at a 7-to-1 to 8-to-1 ratio. They cannot sustain this. What we're being told about this war is just not true.
Oh my God.
Powerful messaging, I gotta say. He's been on a roll. His speech really hit the nail on the head of the corporate corruption that I think really motivated a lot of both Bernie voters and Trump voters. He seems to recognize that this is the through line for so many disaffected voters. He says, I give me a sword, I need an army, and it can't just be the party. I need Democrats, Republicans, and independents. I won't pretend to agree with you on every position, but it would make America a safe place to debate your positions, and I will give you an ear and an open mind.
You know, he's polling at, what was it, 14% in the Democratic, among Democratic primary voters, which is pretty good, actually. It's sizable compared to the attention that, for instance, Nikki Haley is getting, despite not having much support at all. She's getting a lot of media attention. He's getting almost none. In fact, I think Fox News was the only media outlet covering RFK Jr. Obviously, he made an announcement, and then he was on Tucker Carlson's show. He wasn't anywhere else. In fact, the rest of the media, the mainstream media, to the extent they want to talk about him at all, it is to warn you not to talk about him. Let's play this clip from Aaron Burnett.
Biden railing against vaccines, too. Even members of his own family are refusing to support him.
Oh, wow.
Jeff Zeleny is out front.
It was a political rally steeped in Kennedy family history, with one critical missing piece: most of the storied Kennedy family. Today in Boston, as he announced a long-shot presidential.
Okay, well, the two people y'all just showed are freaking dead. They just showed RFK, like his dad, the original Robert F. Kennedy, and then JFK. Like, what? They're dead. Of course they're not coming, okay? What are y'all on?
Bid.
I am going to take back this country with your help.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. evoked images of his father and uncle as he bluntly acknowledged his siblings wish he wouldn't be launching a campaign to challenge President Biden.
There are other members of my family who are not here today.
With a famous political name, he plunged into the fringe of today's politics, railing against the safety of vaccines and what he calls corrupt corporate power in America.
I thought it was funny they say, like, oh, yeah, if his own family's not supporting him, where were the other Kennedys? And at that moment, they're showing a picture of John F. Kennedy, who is dead. Like,
Exactly.
He's not there because he's not alive.
Yeah, well, there has been a case that his siblings have co-signed this letter years ago, distancing themselves from some of his feelings about vaccine skepticism. But it is really interesting in that clip. They go on to interview some people who attended the rally.
Another reason to love him. Okay, he's not for the war in Ukraine. He's against vaccines. I don't know. I'm like that meme, you know, like the meme where like you see like the girl and the guy walking, and then like the guy like turns his head to like look at the other girl, and so the girlfriend that's like walking with him is like looking at him all like, what the fuck, like, and so like so I'm the girlfriend and I'm walking with Trump, and then like, or no, wait, what am I? Wait, hang on, y'all. No, I'm the guy, right? Okay. And Trump is the girlfriend who's walking with me. And my eye gets caught by RFK Jr. And I'm turned around checking out dead ass of RFK Jr. And Trump's all like on my side. Hello? I'm standing right here. So, RFK, listen, I still have a lot to hear from him. We still need to get his opinion on a lot of these cultural issues, which are also very important, but he's looking real good right now.
And they asked him the question, what do you think about the fact that his family doesn't even want to be here? The family doesn't even want to support him. They're really going with that line of attack and the vaccine attack.
Dumb line of attack.
And it's
the
really
family
odd.
attack.
No, nobody cares that his family's not there. As you pointed out, the kind of relevant political Kennedys are no longer with us. And it feels as though, it feels like a weird, like tattletale sort of a line. You expect people to prioritize an interpersonal family dispute over other things. One person interviewed later in that Aaron Burnett clip was asked about the vaccine issues, and she said, well, honestly, there's a whole panoply of things that I'm voting on, and I don't have to agree with him on that to want to support him for other reasons. And I think mainstream Democrats who think that particular line is going to land are really underestimating, one, how much these other issues like the war in Ukraine, domestic policy issues, environmental issues, and the like are motivating voters more. And also the fact that a lot of Americans are, in fact, mad at Donald Trump and Joe Biden for their COVID policies. And RFK Jr. seems to be one of the only politicians who has successfully leveraged a criticism of Donald Trump and the Biden administration both over their vaccine policies.
You shared this tweet from...
people need to really get over this idea that like all of these Americans are going to care if somebody's a vaccine skeptic. Who, at this point in 2023, honestly, who gives a flying flip, okay? Because I definitely don't. That is his opinion, first of all. So that would never, ever move me on any level. If somebody's a skeptic of a vaccine or a climate denier or whatever it is you want to call them, I don't care. It doesn't make them crazy in my book, okay? But maybe that's just because I am a well-known conspiracy theorist, supposedly, allegedly. I am a tinfoil hat wearer, but I don't care. It's not the one and done issue, and it never would be for me. So, and a lot of Americans feel that way. So I think that people need to get over this, like, this idea, this notion that all people need to think alike on certain issues like the vaccine, or all people need to get on board and everybody needs to think that climate change is real. Like, no, the F we don't. And a lot of us don't agree on the mainstream talking points when it comes to that. So next I want to get into Jimmy Dore's, what he had to say about RFK Jr.
Poll, and their headline is Biden leads RFK Jr. by 60 points among Democratic primary voters. Wow, it sounds really powerful. But if you look at it another way, 10% of the Democrats are on board for RFK Jr. 10% of the Democrats are already, without ever seeing a campaign speech or anything, they're already on board for him. 1 in 10. That's another way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another way. Among the party's potential primary voters, 46% hold favorable views. Almost half of the Democrats who are going to say they're going to vote in the primary have a positive view of RFK Jr. I did not know this. I thought they all hated him. Did you know this?
I guess the way the media would portray it. I remember when he was like, they all loved him. He used to go on Jon Stewart.
Yeah, when he was an environmental lawyer.
And he was working with special ed kids. He was always doing like good things for people.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, and I remember that they really liked him, and then all of a sudden he was bad, and I only vaguely heard about why. Like I knew it had something to do with vaccine, but I didn't know what.
Sure. 46% of the Democrats who are going to say they're going to vote in the primary have a positive view of him. 24% hold unfavorable views. Well, 23% have heard of him, but they don't have an opinion. So look at that. That's like almost 70% of the Democrats who are going to vote have no opinion or a positive opinion of RFK Jr.
You know who the 24% is? I bet it's anybody that still watches
MSNBC or CNN. Mm-hmm.
So very interesting, guys. I think that there's a lot of people on board for an RFK Jr. challenge to Biden and possibly to the entire general election. But will it ever come to that? I'm not convinced just yet, because I think that, like I said, the fact that he's running on a Democratic ticket, it can go one of two ways. It's either going to be that the DNC cannot ignore him and they're going to have to allow for the opportunity to debate, which is going to be a disaster for Biden, or they're going to shut him out like they did Bernie Sanders, and then they're going to have an even bigger problem on their hands. So, I don't know. They might be forced into allowing RFK Jr. to get onto the Democratic primary stage, and if he does, I think he might win. I do. And then how epic would that be if we had a, Trump versus RFK Jr. or, I don't know. That would be pretty awesome. Two populist leaders from either party. They, to me, are more similar politically than most people would think. Could be very interesting, guys. Anybody but Sir Poopy Pants Hair Sniffer Extraordinaire. Literally, please, RFK Jr. would be a refreshing change. And if anything, honestly, I would like to see him as the vice president to Trump. I've been saying this for a while now. Even before he announced, I was saying that I wanted to see him as Trump's vice president. I think that would be super awesome. It would be the best of both worlds. Trump could still go hard the way he needs to go if he does win a second term. He literally needs to go in as dark MAGA, like revengeful Trump, and just wreck shop. So I don't know if RFK Jr. would be down for that, but I have a feeling he might be. I don't know. I do. So what do you guys think about all of this? The next couple things we're going to get into are just for fun. Just a little shits and giggles, if you will. Let's get into this Trump video, his best interview walkouts, and then I want to play for you guys a little campaign ad that was ran to attack DeSantis by the Trump super PAC, which I think y'all will enjoy. Let's get into this first, though.
What really made it more than enough
It's enough.
was the dismissive wave. Interview over.
Not the dismissive
But I want to know
wave.
your opinions. You're the president of the United States.
It's enough. Thank you. Thank you very much.
CBS's John Dickerson was thanked you right out the door. 27 years
Well,
old.
Dickerson, that's your first mistake. Coming in with a name like that, Sean Dickerson.
Earlier, it was Donald Trump who walked out.
There's nothing that we didn't discuss on the phone, Donald.
After tough questions from CNN about the financial health of his casinos.
Back to the negative.
Back to the negative.
Back to the. You know what? Do this interview with somebody else.
Well, we talked about this yesterday on the phone. This is exactly what we talked about.
Do the interview with somebody else.
See, he was always this guy. That's what I love about him. Look at
Do it
him.
with somebody else.
Instead of thank you, it was good luck.
I think it's very unfair reporting. Good
Well,
luck.
they're lucky you said good luck, okay? They're lucky you got that
Actually,
much.
Trump's walkouts are rare.
Girl,
when
what
you
is
consider
your
how
face
many
doing?
hundreds, even thousands of interviews he's done over the years. He's never come close to terminating me. Though as a presidential candidate, Trump walked off on 2 Ohio TV reporters in a single day.
19 days out from the election, you've been labeled a racist, you've been called a sexist.
Thank you very much.
How do you respond to that?
I am the least racist person
You know. Well, what do you people expect? Okay, this is a news story, CNN. First of all, it's funny. It's funny. We're watching, obviously, this as a funny video, but it's like, who wouldn't walk away from a question like that? Like, is that a serious question? You've been labeled a racist and a transphobic bigot and a bad person overall who doesn't wipe well whenever he shits. Like, what do you have to say about? Who was going to answer that question? Okay, you're not a serious person at this point. You are not for real. I'm assuming he's running for president at this point, and you are going to sit up here and ask me this. Girl, get out of my face. I don't blame him for walking off. I think it's beautiful.
you've ever met.
This after a woman came out accusing Trump of touching her.
Another woman came out today about the U.S. Open and you groped her today. Can you answer allegations about that?
Groped her?
About the U.S. Open allegations?
Ridiculous.
Trump clearly knew nothing about fake rapper Ali G when he sat down with Sacha Baron Cohen's character, who asked him to invest in
these ice cream gloves.
Trump declined to invest, but did it without taking off the gloves.
Good luck, folks. It's been nice seeing you. You take care of yourself, okay?
Is he going to be in on that?
Well, it sounds like an interesting...
We've got like...
Trump tends to be harder on the microphone.
Do it with somebody else. Have a good time.
Than the interviewer.
But I want to know your
opinion.
That was the original. Get somebody else to do it.
CNN.
It's enough.
Wow.
New York.
Jeannie, what a riveting report you did there. You're a true journalist, aren't you? So that was pretty keck. And then even more keck was this right here. We're going to watch this ad that Trump put out, and then the TYT, the Young Turks, a bit of their commentary, as much as I can stomach, because it's not much. But let's get into this, and then we'll get on it for guys.
Ron DeSantis loves sticking his fingers where they don't belong.
Oh, what?
And we're not just talking about pudding. DeSantis has his dirty fingers all over senior entitlements.
Oh my God.
Like cutting Medicare, slashing Social Security, even raising our retirement age. Tell Ron DeSantis to keep his pudding fingers off our money. Oh, and somebody get this man a spoon.
Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Ew! Oh my God.
You can't unsee that. So if you're not familiar with what that's referencing, it was a month ago that news broke that DeSantis, according to two sources, had once eaten chocolate pudding with 3 of his fingers. He was asked about it, and he issued a quasi-denial telling Piers Morgan that he didn't recall ever doing so. And if you're new to American politics, if they use the word recall, they're lying to you.
You're so fucking cool. I literally, what a punchable face this guy has. And I disavow violence, but my God. I mean, okay, let me not, because this is probably what I got in trouble for on YouTube when I got a video. Anyways, just, y'all see it. Y'all see the face. But what an ad that was. Let me just stick to the script here, because, you know, I gotta censor everything. But I mean, so yeah, the report was that DeSantis ate pudding with his fingers, which is gross, okay? And very uncivilized, but, you know, whatever. You can't say that you would ever not do it. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to be unbiased here. If I didn't have a spoon and I really wanted some pudding, I would probably go for like maybe like the drink it method, like maybe like try to like, you know, loosen it up and like just pour it into my mouth before I like stuck 3 fingers, like finger deep, you know, a pudding cup. But who knows? We've all had our nights, okay, guys? I'm not judging Ron DeSantis, but that commercial was great. It was very good stuff. And I think it's funny. I think that the actor that got to play Ron DeSantis, though, looked nothing like him. I think they could have done better with the casting choice, and they could have done better with the pudding. It didn't even look like real pudding. Like, what was that? It looked weird. It looked like thick-ass gravy. I don't even know what. But overall, good material. You know, I think that Trump is going to do what he's going to do. This wasn't even put out by the Trump campaign. This was put out by, like, MAGA PAC. So it's still funny. It's still, like, very hilarious that out of all the things they could have, like, gone after Ron DeSantis about, they focus on him eating pudding with 3 fingers. You know, that's what kind of country we live in now, guys. This is what we talk about, and it's not just the right. You know, here is the hard left covering this story on their news channel, you know, talking about pudding. Let's let it play for a little bit longer, and then we'll jump out of here.
Definitely did it. If you had done that or not, you'd know. If someone asked me, have you ever eaten more than 2 boxes of Pop-Tarts in a single sitting? I wouldn't have to say that I don't recall for sure.
Equivalent.
You know. What do you guys think
People
about
have drunk
this?
nights. I don't know.
I think that ad is devastating.
Really?
So there's 2 reasons why it's devastating. He's going after DeSantis' position on Social Security and Medicare. And those positions are deeply, deeply, deeply unpopular. By the way, especially in Florida, with a heavy senior citizen population, right? And so that is savvy of Trump's team to go populist and progressive against DeSantis, okay? So Trump is pretending to have the progressive position there. He doesn't actually have it, but it's good politics. Now, secondarily, there's 2 things that trigger the conservative mind the most. This is borne out by studies, and we've covered it on the show before. Number 2 is fear. You would think that number 1 would be fear. No, number 2 is. Number 1 is disgust.
Oh, wow. Speaking of punchable faces, guys, you know, see the screen. So it does kind of worry me the fact that Cenk Uyghur from the Young Turks is sitting up here complimenting or giving Trump his kudos, okay? That does worry me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like it. I don't like it, okay? So in that regard, maybe Trump, listen, maybe don't do that. Maybe let's start attacking Biden instead of, you know, one another. Because when you got TYT giving you kudos, guy, it's not good. We don't love to see that. But what I do love to see is all the mainstream media people coming and discounting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They are truly going to start going after him the same way that they did Bernie Sanders, the same way that they did Trump before his election, and they're going to try to tear this man down and discount him at all costs. But I think he has a real shot, and I like what he's saying so far. I like his message. I like his platform, and I am down to hear what he has to say. And I think that this candidate should have a lot of people worried, and not just Biden. So what do you guys think about everything that we just saw? What do y'all think about RFK Jr.? Is it the new era of Kennedy? Somebody protect that man, okay? I'm still shook over what he said. He snatched my soul out of my body earlier, okay? Truly did. And I will link everything in the description down below. But y'all let me know, guys, what y'all think about it all. And until next time, y'all please like the video, comment, subscribe to my channel. Go to Rumble and subscribe there, because I don't know how long YouTube is going to let me on their little platform. But until next time, guys, I will see y'all later, okay? Bye.
I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.